London, the greatest city in the world, according to many of its 8 million residents and 16 million annual visitors. Home to some of the most iconic landmarks globally, London's skyline is as diverse as it is unique. Brought to you by Protection and Management, the world's leading events covering security, fire, safety and facilities. Protecting London is a series of videos which reveal how these functions operate within the capital's landmarks and celebrates the people who keep them running safely, day in, day out. Episode 2 takes us to the majestic, Grade 1 listed building, the Royal Albert Hall. Since opening in 1871, its stage has been graced by endless musical greats. Verdi and Wagner, Sinatra and the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix and Jay-Z to name but a few. We met the Hall's Director of Operations, Amanda Squires, to hear how her team keep the world's most high-profile performers safe and deliver top-of-the-range facilities in this magnificent 19th century London landmark.
My name's Amanda Squires. I'm the Director of Operations at the Royal Albert Hall. I look after all of the areas that are responsible for the sort of front of house and back of house delivery, as well as health and safety, security and the facilities teams. We're so busy and we do so many different events and so many different activities. Everybody has to work together very, very closely as part of a team. So I don't think I could identify one particular area that I worked more closely with than any other. It really is a massive team effort. We've tried very hard over the last few years to open the doors up much more to the hall. When I first joined, it was pretty much an evening event venue, and now we open to the public, you know, all through the day. We have a cafe, bar and an Italian restaurant that open to non-ticket holders all of the time. We might have a full audience in. It's like an entirely different building every single day. Some of the events we deal with, the very, very high profile events, can be very, very difficult. Gorbachev's 80th birthday, which was an event we held a few years ago, was very challenging from a security perspective. We had high profile VIPs from all around the world, each with their own security detail, each with very much their own ideas of what their level of personal security should be. We had very robust plans that we worked through with the police and other agencies, which we had to stick to. So there were some very difficult meetings, some very long meetings, and a lot of what I would term assertive diplomacy to make sure that the event ran smoothly. We obviously deal with many, many high-profile events, but every single event, regardless of whether it's involving high-profile VIPs or not, is subject to a very robust security assessment. So for most events, the security measures that we put in place may be very unobtrusive. They may not be seen by most of the people that come to the hall. Obviously, as events become more and more higher profile and the security levels around them are greater, then things become much more visible. So we might be seeing dog teams searching the building, search arches, road closures. Every event has to have a huge amount of planning. It's very important that we have multi-agency involvement, and we work very, very closely with the police and a number of other agencies. Sometimes the security challenge can be down to a very high-profile person who doesn't want anybody to know that they're coming to the building or that they've been here. So it might be about getting them in and out of the building and making sure nobody knows, and we're very skilled at being able to facilitate that as well. It can be very difficult getting modern technology, CCTV, access control systems into a building that is a beautiful Grade 1 listed building dating from 1871. We need to do that sympathetically. It needs to be visually unobtrusive, and obviously anything that affects the look, the structure or the fabric of the building, we have to seek heritage approval. But it's something that's always very much at the top of our minds. We're entrusted to look after this fantastic building. Technology these days becomes outdated so quickly. We have to be incredibly careful to make sure that every single penny we spend, we're spending on systems and not going to become obsolete tomorrow. And we have to spend a great deal of time and resource on updating some of our systems. At the moment, we're specifying an upgrade to our building management system, where we've got a lot of control technology that is now no longer supported. So it can be very, very difficult. We have to be incredibly careful about how we invest our money and make very, very targeted choices. Being a building that has so many different people in it, so every day we might have different staff from production teams and promoters teams, and it could be in up to 100, more than 100 people. different teams every single day, making sure that we can get the information to them about house rules, about our expectations, making sure that we've received risk assessments and method statements back from them. So it's very much about, again, communicating and trying to get a lot of the information exchanged before the day of the event and on the day briefings. Probably the other biggest health and safety challenge, I would say, is contractors who come in to service the building and our equipment, making sure that they are well controlled and supervised. We know who's going to be working where, exactly what they're going to be doing. A lot of our work has to be done at night because it's the only way that we can gain access to the building. But even then, increasingly, shows and technology is getting more and more complex. Events want to load in earlier and load out later, so even our nighttime periods are getting a little bit squeezed. I think the biggest single change has been the extraordinary growth in the activity that we do. When I first joined 9 years ago, we did about 350 events, mainly in the main auditorium. Last year we did 397 events in the main auditorium and another 450 events in different areas of the hall. And they can be, across the full gamut of activities, from schools events, performances, conferences, sporting events, workshops. So the explosion in activity has been huge, and that has meant that we've had to find new and creative ways to manage the facilities in the building and to make sure that we give every single person that comes into the hall the best possible experience, whether they're a contractor, a promoter, a member of the production team, or a patron coming to see an event. It is really very important, and I've found here that it's been incredibly successful to have all of the key facilities, security areas integrated, and that, I think, has given us huge benefits. It wasn't always, we weren't always organised in that way, but certainly since we have, and it was a very conscious decision to do that, to bring together the key back of house and front of house delivery areas, and I think there have been some massive advantages in doing that. I think it's made it much easier to run the building and to protect the building and to operate in the most efficient way. So I see that model of having everything together and having everything very closely integrated as really, really important, and it's brought us some huge benefits.